Hi, I am Isabel, and I'm a first-year student in a big city far from home. Finding a room had proven to be very hard, and I traveled from my hometown to the city for a few months until I finally got lucky. The room wasn't that huge, but I didn't mind. I was just glad to have some spare time instead of having to travel every day. Something else worth mentioning. I live on one entire floor with 12 others. We share 3 toilets, 3 showers, and a common room with a kitchen. I got to meet a few of them in the first week of living there, but around 5 of them remain a total mystery to me. Jane was the one who showed me where I could put my groceries in the fridge. Everyone had their own shelf with a name tag, and my shelf held the name of the homeowner before me. Someone seemingly had decided to ignore that, and had put their own groceries there, maybe knowing that the homeowner had left. Jane apologized and left them on another shelf.
It might have been Kobe. He doesn't care much for rules. He'll just have to put them back on his own.
I left my groceries in the fridge, changed the name on the name tag, and went on about my day. When I came back to make dinner, however, the items were back on my shelf. I didn't really mind, but decided to leave a note.
To whoever's leaving your things on my shelf, please don't use more than half of the space, otherwise I don't mind. Greetings, Isabel.
It read. I even added a smiley and hung it on the fridge. I got a response the next day. Got it. They were written on the same piece of paper. I look forward to being fridge mates. And they too had drawn a smiley face. And thus, I shared my shelf with someone I hadn't met yet. I asked for the name, but I didn't get any reaction. Sometimes, I was surprised by the habits from my fridge mates, but I didn't judge, even when they put spices in the fridge, and even when their eggs went bad 2 weeks ago. As long as it didn't smell, I decided not to care. One day, however, I opened the fridge and screamed, falling to the ground and shattering the plate I was holding. Jane came running into the kitchen and watched from my terrified expression to the toy mouse sitting on my shelf, rattling and squeaking on its batteries. She asked me if I was alright and helped me up, carefully avoiding the shards.
Sorry for the commotion,
I said, my voice trembling.
I'm terrified of mice.
Jane shook her head.
Well, that isn't really nice of a missy. Kobe can't pull stunts like these, scaring you like that. I'll talk to him later.
I thanked her, still shaking like a leaf when she told me she would clean up the mess. That night, I heard stumbles and voices in the hallway, even well past 12 o'clock, which isn't really that weird for students, but it somehow kept me awake this time. It's around 4 in the morning. I awoke from a nightmare. Living mice crawling out of the fridge in dozens, and their squeaks echoed in my ears as I sat in bed, along with my heavy breathing slowly dispelling and peeping. As it did, I barely believed my ears picking up another sound. There was still stumbling in the hallway. Heavy footsteps, stomping louder and louder as they approached my room. I leaped out of bed, adrenaline from the nightmare still rushing through my system, and I locked the door before taking hold of the door handle. Blind, unexplainable panic went through my body, and a firm grip hurted my sleepy hands as I listened to the steps coming closer. They stopped in front of my door, and I squealed like a mouse when the key lock unlocked with a loud click. I took a wide stance when someone applied pressure to the door handle and prayed that I was strong enough to hold off whoever stood there. My hands tingled when they finally gave up, and I locked the door again before leaning closer to the wood. Someone breathed heavily on the other side, and I listened with my heart at my throat until the footsteps finally receded. I didn't even dare go back to bed, and I stayed there until daylight came. My lectures didn't really settle that day, and I began to doubt the event more and more as the hours passed. I didn't feel very well, and the bags underneath my eyes confirmed so. When I came back, I decided to pack my stuff and go home a day sooner. I would just call in sick for the next day. As I locked my door, I gasped when I saw a piece of paper on eye level. Someone suddenly approached, and I snatched it from the door without reading it, even though I didn't know why I wanted to hide it. It was a guy I'd seen a few times before.
"Oh, hello, Isabel. Going home early this week?"
He asked.
Yeah. I'm not feeling too well,"
I said, clumsily shoving the paper into my backpack.
"And can you please tell Jane that I went home early?"
"Oh, what? Jane?"
"Yeah, just tell her that I can't stand Kobe and his stunts anymore. She'll understand."
He just stared at me, with his frown deepening even further.
"Oh, I'm sorry, but who are you talking about?"
Have you never seen Jane before? You know, same height, brown hair."
Isabel? There's no one living on this floor named Jane or Kobe.
"What?"
We stared at each other, and the air around me suddenly thickened. I shook my head, told him that he was right, that I hadn't slept very well and was mixing things up in my head. He gave me one last questioning look and then told me to take some good rest. Now, currently, I'm on my way back home, writing all this, and I've unfolded the crumpled paper. There are 2 different handwritings. The first line is written with shaky letters, as if written on a wobbly surface. It says,
"Oh, sad to see you leave. I was looking to have some more fun before the weekend. Kobe."
The second handwriting I recognize from the fridge, and the line reads,
"I look forward to seeing you next week, fridge mate. Jane."
At this moment, I still can't tell if they are real or not. Maybe the guy I just spoke with is the one that isn't real. Or maybe, just maybe, I just live on the floor all on my own.